Hey everyone, Bullet Pro Scale Models, welcome to another build series. Today we're building Hobby Design's 124th Rocket Bunny Nissan GTR. So this is a kit I picked up recently from somebody on Facebook. Not my normal kind of kit, but I got offered it as a good price. I really enjoy these resin kits and I thought, let's add it to the stash. Some of the lads were doing an R35 buddy build, so I thought I'd join in with them and pick this as my subject. Now, as with most of the builds, I had a look online for the real car, so literally Googled Rocket Bunny R35 and actually found a Liberty Walk kit in Miami blue, black trim, black wheels, and that's where I chose to base my build on, and it looks pretty much bang on for it. So Pro Scale paints Miami blue, some deep black, some zoom on forged carbon for the roof spoiler and whatnot, black wheels, black interior, and that's what we're going for today. So yes, let's get going with the build. As always, don't forget to do have a Patreon. You get early access in all these videos. If you watch this on ISM, you're about 4 months behind on the build because there's so many builds go up and patrons get early access. You can skip straight to the front of the queue by becoming a patron. There's loads of other perks as well. They're all listed up here on screen. And you keep me being able to make these videos as well. Without the support of everyone, I couldn't do this. So thank you all. And as always, go to Pro Scale Paints, have a look for any supplies you need. We sell paints, tools, kits, sanders, polishing pads, all sorts. Come over and support our small family business. The link to everything is in the description down below. Anyway, let's crack on with the build. Okay, so picking up with the build, as said before, there's already a review of this on the channel, so you can go back and have a look should you wish. Quick test fit shows that the bonnet hood, if you're not from this country, doesn't fit the best. Left hand rear sticking up a little bit more than it should do, so a little bit of gentle heat off the heat gun will heat it up and manipulate it into shape. Resin shape's really easy once heated up. If you don't have a heat gun, warm water will do. You can see how flexible it goes, and it's just a case of just keep heating it up until you get the shape you want. As you can see, it took a couple applications, but once it sorted this, it fitted perfectly on the body. Just be careful, less is more, just take your time. It tends to work better under hot water, but the heat gun is just convenience because I don't have hot water in my cave. I used to, never really used it, took it out, but hey ho, that's a different story. So a little bit of heat, and the bonnet now fits near enough absolutely spot on. So quick little fix there. Very clean body overall from Hobby Design. Obviously Hobby Design Alpha are the same entity. A little bit of sanding on the sides to get it to fit, and a quick rescribe over the entire body. And that's basically it. Like I say, really nice clean body. The beauty of these resin kits is they are mostly cleaned up when you get them. I do like to rescribe the panel lines, just get rid of any muck out of them and reprofile them just a touch deeper than they are when bought. So quick over the Holly Scriber, and then we're going to scuff the whole body up with a Tamiya 1500 sponge. Now all the tools and products you see me using here, you can get over on our website, proscalepaints.uk. So head on over there and have a look, as well as all the paints I use in the video as well. Once we've sanded it all, give it a quick clean up with an old toothbrush, get any dust out the panel lines. Preparation is key here. This is what will give us our great paint finish. So taking our time overall here is well worth it. Now, there's lots of rivet holes all over the body kit, and I did plan originally to put rivets in, but once I drilled them all out with a little pin vise here and the zoom on micro drill bit set, later on when I tried with it, I didn't like the look of it. And to be honest, with the panel line wash and it actually looked pretty good as a dark rivet hole, so I left them like that in future. We've got some Pro Scale Paint pre-paint degreaser. This is an ideal degreaser for any resin or plastic kit, be it a car model, plane, tank, whatever. It's an alcohol-based degreaser. Wipe it all over the model with a clean bit of kitchen paper, and this will remove any nasty fingerprints, Cheeto marks, chocolate fingerprints, chicken finger, whatever you've been doing when you've been modelling, because we all do things while modelling, eating, drinking, whatever, and these fingerprints do have a detrimental effect to your paintwork, so make sure you go around and degrease it all. Once you wiped it all over, get another dry piece of kitchen paper and just go around and dry it off. Don't forget all the nooks and crannies as well. And again, this is the second, third stage into getting a perfectly prepped body. Don't forget all the other parts as well. We've got lots of parts to paint on this. Some of them are blue, some are going to be black. In the spray booth, we've got our Pro Scale Grey Microfiller Primer. We've got our Iwata CR3 Revolution, which is a 0.3 Iwata airbrush, 1820 psi roughly. Excuse the binmen, they're coming to empty the bins in the road. We've got our anti-static brush from Tamiya. Then we're going to put several light coats of primer down, building up of each coat as we go. Now our primer is a microfiller, so it is going to dry with some texture. Once it's dry, after a few hours, you can sand it back and you'll end up with a super smooth primed surface. Now the idea of microfiller is that it will infill any micro imperfections in the body. So if you have any small scratches or whatever, the microfiller primer will help to fill these in. So it is beneficial to use, but it will require sanding once done. Nice and easy. It takes literally 5 minutes to sand, and you'll end up with a far superior primer base that's perfectly prepped. Now we've got lots of nooks and crannies on this. We've got a full engine bay, which is literally the first one I've seen on a resin kit like this. Very rarely have I seen any engines on resin kits. In fact, this is the only one I can ever think of. So loads of nooks and crannies. Make sure you're getting everywhere, and just take your time building the primer up nice and slow. No rush here. I've sped this up obviously. I probably put about 4 light coats of primer down on this. Slightly heavier coat on the very end coat, but making sure we're getting all around the engine bay, wheel arches, in and among the lights, around the doors, windows, everywhere. Obviously, we also need to remember to do all the other parts as well. So we've got the bonnet. Now, I did originally plan on carbon fibre in the bonnet, but I changed my mind later on, and I'm glad I did as well. All the other parts are going to prime with Mr. Surfacer 1500 Black. Now, the reason I'm not priming this in Pro Scale is exactly what I said before. Our primer requires sanding. A lot of these small parts, I can't get in there to sand. So, Mr. Surfacer 1500 is my next go-to primer. There we go, there's all the black parts all primed up now. As you can see, I've primed the bonnet in black as well, because I did initially plan to carbon fibre it. Now, back in the spray booth, and we've got our colour now. So this is Pro Scale Paints Porsche Miami Blue, that is the colour. I found an online reference. This is quite often how I get my inspiration for builds. I'll Google a car. So I literally Googled Rocket Bunny R35 and I actually found a Liberty War car painted in this colour, and it just looked awesome. It had carbon fibre and black accents on it, and I thought that's the colour for me. So several light coats of this, probably about 7-8 coats in total building up. We're using the CR3 Revolution again, 20 psi. I'm just going to put down several light coats, and again, no heavy coats needed at all. It's not how our paint works, just nice light thin coats. And of course, getting all those nooks and crannies again as before. And just building up nice and slow. Now I'm alternating left and right and up and down passes with each subsequent coat. And I'll leave about 5 minutes between each coat of paint to allow the paint to flash off. And you'll see, just after 2 or 3 coats is the first one done. Here's about 4 coats done. You can see the colour starting to really pop now, becoming really vibrant. It's a very, very nice colour, this. Not often I'll go off-piste on a manufacturer colour, but this just looked too good in this colour. It was already in our catalogue of 900 paints that we have on our site. And I thought, yeah, let's do this. So we're probably about halfway through our paint job here. So it's looking really, really good. And after about another 4 coats or so, we've got full depth of colour, and it's looking absolutely stunning. Really is looking good. It's a very nice vibrant blue. Just making sure we've got nothing stuck to it. Luckily our paint flashes off almost instantly, so if you get any dust on there you can wipe it off. And obviously we'll let this now dry for about 4-6 hours, and then we can flat it back if needed and recoat. But didn't need to on this one. Pretty perfect paint job to begin with. So instead we masked off to paint our A-pillars black. So this is Pro Scale Deep Black. Same eye washer as before. In fact, it's not. It's my HPC Plus, this one. So 0.3mm needle. Just a bit more of a precise airbrush. We don't need a wide pattern for this one. So a bit of masking, a bit of cling film to infill the rest of the model. And we can just put a couple of light coats down, building up the black. Probably put about 4 coats of this down. You'll find the darker the colour, the quicker it covers. It gets better coverage, so you don't tend to need as many coats. Lighter colours, you'll need multiple coats to get the depth of colour. So just something to bear in mind when you're painting. Now, carbon fibre. Something I've never done before is forged carbon. We've got the zoom on forged carbon on the site, so I thought, let's give it a go. And my original plan was to do the roof, the spoiler, and the bonnet as well. I did do the bonnet and then changed my mind. It just looked too uniform and it just lost a bit of its look that I wanted. So we're doing the roof here. So it's been in some water for a few seconds, probably about a minute in there to be honest. Laying it in place. Then we're going to get most of the creases and bubbles out using the cotton bud. Just very gently moving it around to get it in position. And our goal here is to get all the moisture out from behind the decal. That is the overall goal here. It's going to use a combination of cotton buds, heat from our heat gun, and some Ultimate Modeling decal solutions to get rid of these. So it's just a case of working the decal and keep working it until we get all those bubbles and creases gone, and then we can start cutting it to get it into shape and manipulating it into any panel lines or in and around those windows where we need to go. So I'm using the Ultimate Normal solution here. Once we start getting that set in place, I'm going to cut down the panel line on the roof where we want the cut for the carbon. Now it's important to pick this stage here. You don't want the carbon to dry too much on the area you want to remove, but you need to make sure that the carbon is down enough so that A, the decal doesn't move, and B, you don't tear it with your knife. So we've got a fresh blade in our scalpel. We're just allowing the panel line to follow, let the knife follow the line. Cut it, get some tweezers, remove the excess, and then we can really start to work to get this decal in place. So take your time here. It's well worth taking your time, and just keep working it with heat, the decal solutions, cotton buds, and you'll get there in the end. So with them both cut, we can start getting those panel lines tucked in with the carbon, and then we need to do it on the window surround as well. So we just have a little bit of an overhang on each one, but it is time consuming. It does take time, but the better the job you do here, the better it will look. And don't forget, you can always redo it. If you're not happy at this stage, you can always take it back off and redo it. It's one of those things that you get better at with time. So persevere and keep going. So there's our roof on. I'm going to do the spoiler next. So for that, we're going to use it as a template and literally almost cut it to shape. Going to leave a little bit of excess just so it overhangs, and exactly the same procedure as before. In the water, decal solutions and heat. Obviously we need to decal underneath as well, so we'll cut another piece a little bit smaller for underneath. But just take your time. Your finger is a very useful decaling tool, very good for rolling part over as I'm doing here, but just take your time. As you've seen there, the decal slipped. Luckily we could repair it. With everything carbon decal, we're going to give the car a wash now. So we've got some Tamiya black panel line wash. I'll alternate between pure black and dark grey, depending on the base colour of the car. I think for the blue, the black work best. And this is an enamel-based panel line wash over a lacquer paint, so they don't react with each other. So it's a case of just touching it, let the clear action carry it, let that dry, wipe it off with a cotton bud with some odourless mineral spirits on. Job done. Now we've got a whole plethora of parts to clean up here, so I'm going to mount all these various ways. I'm going to drill holes and attach it with cocktail sticks. We'll use clamps and super glue to hold the part as required. Our wheels, I've got these photo etch inserts where the split rim imitation is. So using one of our precision applicators from ProScale to apply the CA glue. It's a little bit of Bob Smith's gold. This will give us plenty of working time for the parts. We're going to pop this in. There's 5 parts for each wheel. So again, tricky little thing to do. And then we're going to clean up the rest of the PE and get it mounted for primer as well. So we're going to cut them off of our Zoron shears and then mount it to some reverse Tamiya masking tape to enable us to spray them later on. So lots of parts. Not every piece of photo etch is going to be painted. There'll be some parts that will be left silver. And also be aware that some parts are mirrored. So make sure you get them the correct way round. Otherwise, when you come to fit them, you will have painted the wrong side. So this is how I do a bit of reverse tape, stick them down on some tongue depressors, and we can mask and paint them as we need to. Now we've got some little side pieces, little vents to go in here. So I'm going to try and glue on as many pieces as I can before clearing, because it'll just make life easier. We've got less parts to clear. So these little side vents, using some Radico, the watchmaking sticky tool, we can get those glued in, and we'll do the rest of any other parts we can glue on. We'll get them glued in place. Now, we're going to 2K. ProScale's 2K clear coat. We've got our booth all set up, fresh filter, fresh paper. We've wetted the booth. We've got both our storage containers there to store our parts in, because there's a lot of them. I've got 2 today. And we're going to mix our Pro Scale 2 clear, 2 parts clear, 1 part activator. So roughly 10 milliliters of clear, 5 milliliters of activator. So we've got medicine cup. I put a black tile down so I can see marks on the cup. I'm just double checking to make sure it's correct. It's a touch more. There we go, just a little bit. There we are. So 10 milliliters clear, 5 milliliters of activator. Now, when you are using pipettes, use a fresh one for each substance and don't put them back in. Don't contaminate the bottle with the previous chemical. It will ruin your 2K set. It will cause it to go off because it will start the reaction of drying the 2K. So once you've got enough 2K in there, put the lid back on the activator. We're going to stir that mix right now and get the process going. And then we're going to throw that pipette away and never ever use it again. So empty it, put it down the back. Then get our clear and we're going to thin this 5%. So if we've got 15 ml of combined clear and activator, we're going to add 0.75 milliliters of thinner. It doesn't sound a lot, but it makes all the difference. And this is the perfect ratio for our 2K. I've tested many different ways of doing it. This is what gives me the best results, and that's the way I'd recommend doing it. We're also going to strain it. Because of the nature of 2K and the activator, it does dry and it can leave remnants on the rim. And I always think if a little bit of that falls in, it could end up in your clear coat, could end up on your model. So I always strain the 2K. Again, we sell the strainers over on the site, as we do this Tamiya brush as well, which is ideal for dedusting the models prior to painting. Now we've got our Iwata CR Revolution. This is the 0.5 Revolution now, 20 psi. And we're going to go around and give, first off, we're just going to give a nice semi-wet coat of 2K all over the model. Just a nice even coat of clear. We're not trying to get full coverage. We're just trying to get a nice even base coat of clear. What we'll do then is let that flash off for 5 minutes. It will go super, super tacky. And that will allow our next coats to grip without fear of running. That's how 2K works. It goes super, super sticky. Like you wouldn't believe it. And it's a case of just following the wet edge of the previous coat, going across and just getting a nice even coat all the way. Like I say, we're not trying to get our perfect clear coat with these coats. That's not going to happen. That will come with our last coat at the end. As always, I get the obligatory bit of dust on the model, as always. 5 minutes has elapsed and we're back with our next coat. We're also painting the other parts in the box to the right as well, but I'm just focusing on the body for the purpose of this video. So again, nice semi-wet coat. Again, wet edges, keeping them wet, following the previous coat. Just overlap it slightly and just build the 2K up nicely. What this is doing is basically laying the foundation for our thinned third coat we're going to do in a minute. And it's that third thinned coat that makes all the difference with this. It really is a game changer. So just get that nice base coat down, a nice wet clear coat. I hope this is making sense. Just build it up until you get a nice base coat, and then again we're going to pop that in the box again while we deal with all the other parts. There's lots of parts here, so make sure you're 2K in them at the same time. Now once we're on our second coat and everything, we're going to thin that mix a further 10%. So if say now you've got 10 milliliters of clear left, we're going to add 10% thinner, which will be 1 milliliter, and this will thin the 2K a lot more than you think it would. Again, for fresh pipette, throw it away, and now the 2K will flow a lot easier, and it will self-level a lot faster as well. So those previous coats of 2K were put down. This will self-level out on that absolutely beautifully, and it will give us an absolutely fantastic clear coat. Now, something I've been experimenting with is a dehydrator as well. So what you use to dry out fruit and whatnot, you can set it to 60 degrees C, pop your model in for 20 minutes as recommended by our manufacturer specifications for our 2K, and it will dry the 2K a lot faster. Let it flash off for about 40 minutes before, then pop it in 60 degrees C for 20 minutes, and it will speed up rapidly the 2K process. So the 2K will dry perfectly fine at around 20 degrees C. It'll take 4 to 6 hours to cure to touch. At 60 degrees, it's touch dry in 20 minutes. It really speeds up the process. As you can see here, we've got a beautiful clear coat. And as I always say, don't be worried about pushing the 2K. You want a flawless clear coat. It should look like this. It should look like glass. If it doesn't, put more 2K down. Don't be afraid to use more. Now it's going to be left to dry for probably a week by the time we get round to everything else. In the meantime, we're going to prime and paint everything else. And as you can see, we've got a lot of parts here. So we're going to use a mixture of Mr. Surfacer 1500 grey and Mr. Surfacer 1500 black to prime everything. So all the interior and whatnot is mostly going to be grey. We've got black wheels on this, I think we did. So we're going to have black primer on those. For the photo etch part, we've got our Pro Scale Paints photo etch primer. This is an etch primer specifically developed for photo etch. Works absolutely amazing. Covers super quick, dries almost instantly, and just gives a much more resilient primer for your 2K. Now, with the interior, we're painting this in Pro Scale Napa Black. It's one of my favouriteest colours we do. Quite a bland interior. This is my choice for this car. The wheels we're doing in Pro Scale alloy wheel black. Again, this is my colour for this car. And again, I'm using a reference of the real life car I found. Lots of parts to paint. So if we skip forward, there's everything painted. So a mixture of Napa Black, some Pro Scale metallics. We've got carbon ceramic on the brakes as well. We've got LP2. That's not LP2, it's GX2, Mr. Hobby, gloss black on the window surrounds, carbon ceramic grey on the brake discs. And yeah, we've basically primed and painted everything in one go. So it just speeds up the process. Everything's done in stages. And once you get used to working like this, it's a very efficient way of working. If I remember right, there was no decals for the calipers in this, so I put some Brembos on. We started to detail up the interior, adding the steering wheel details and decals, and the intake manifold for the engine. I decided to paint the centre in red, so I've got some red Tamiya enamel paint, and just very carefully brushing it on. We're going to infill all this detail around the edge. Now, if we do get a bit of excess on, we're using enamel over lacquer, so we're a bit of thinner. It will come off, so you don't need to be absolutely perfect. But it did the job absolutely fantastic. To mask this, we're doing an absolute nightmare. So it's quite nice to brush paint every now and then. It's nice to go back to your roots. It is kind of good. Right, sanding now. It's been probably 5 days. The 2K is nicely cured. It was cured almost straight away out the dehydrator. We've got a little bit of dust on the roof, I think it is. For the rest of it, it's pretty good all over. So we're going to use some Trizac 6 and 8000 pads. Again, we sell these over on Pro Scale. These things are an absolute game changer. With a lot of other things I've got, these things make your life so much easier. They are so much more efficient than micromesh and sandpapers. This is what they're designed for. They're designed to sand clear coat. So we've got a bottle there with some washing up liquid in and spraying it on. Something I learned, don't saturate the pads, spray the water on, and they do cut a lot more efficient. I'm getting much better results spraying soapy water onto the body rather than dipping the pad into the water. It just works so much better. It's actually on the technical specifications for the 3M pads. We're going to go around the whole body with the 6 and the 8. Once that's done, we've got our Zoom On polishing pads. These come in a coarse, medium and fine, and the holder. We've got our Benzerna 2500, 3500 and some Autoglym Super Resin polish as well. And we've got our Proxon rotary tool there as well. So I'm going to show one quick stage of this. This is the coarser compound. Now shake the living bejesus out of the bottle. Take the lid off, dip your finger in, wipe it on, and then wipe it all over where you want to polish. So I work on 3 or 4 sections on this. So I'll do the roof, the boot lid, and the bonnet normally. And I'll just put enough polish on to do those. We've got our coarse sponge here. My Proxon is foot pedal operator, which makes life way easier. And I'm going to go around. I'm just going to polish everything up. Now, as with the Trizacs, be careful of any raised areas or corners that you don't burn through. I am yet to burn through, touch wood, but it's something that can happen if you're a little bit haphazard or not paying attention. So make sure your attention's given to this. Also, I'd recommend wrapping the tool that holds the sponges on with a bit of electrical tape. because the hard plastic can damage your paint if it catches it, and electrical tape does help reduce the damage. So I tend to give everything a couple of passes over, going in alternate directions. And this was completely flat, this car, after being Trizic pad from the 68000. And you'll see the shine we get back instantly just from the coarse compound, never mind anything else. So like I said, I tend to work on a section at a time. I'll do the trunk, the boot, the roof and the bonnet hood in one, then wipe it all off, and then I'll go to one side, do the same, the other side, and then the front and the rear. And obviously any other separate parts can be done separately. We've got the spoiler and the bonnet. But that's the way I work. And we're going to work through the green with the coarse Menzerner, the blue with the medium Menzerner, and the red with the Autoglym. And this is just off the coarse. Look at this shine. This is just off the coarse compound. Look at that shine we've got back already, just off that. So imagine what this is going to look like once we get through all the compounds. The Menzerner compounds, absolutely fantastic. These zoom on polishers, amazing, absolutely brilliant. And again, working our way around the whole body, we're going to go all over, and we're going to repeat this stage with each and every compound and sponge as well. So go around 3 times in total with all 3 different ones. Just take your time here. It's very easy to ruin your work. Make sure you're concentrating on what you're doing, and make sure you're careful with that tool as well. And make sure you're using a pretty low RPM rotary tool as well. Don't be using a 20,000 RPM Dremel. With everything polished up, this is looking good. Look at that beautiful shine. Still got a little speck of dust on that roof that I'm not prepared to push anymore, but I'm happy with that. The bonnet looks fantastic. I'm glad I took that carbon off that bonnet. I think it breaks it up and makes it look a bit better. Obviously, we've got the spoiler that's been done as well. And a little tip, to get rid of any residue out the panel lines, a airbrush just loaded with water is ideal for jet washing out the panel lines. Now, whatever you do, make sure you're using water. Don't pick up lacquer thinner by accident, because it'll do more than just blast out the polish. And all toothbrush is handy as well, but this little tip's good. Once you're done, cut to wear, and you can blow all the water off, and then you can dry it up. And that's it. We're going to leave that there today. We'll be back for part 2 very, very soon. As always, you want any access on all these videos, I have a Patreon. It's linked in the description down below. You get like 3-4 month early access on the videos. There's loads of other perks to becoming a supporter as well. And as always, thanks to all my current supporters for their support. So enjoy your day, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.